What kind of band is this?
Everybody poops sometimes.
Give us the smooth.
Wake up, sweetness.
Your first time should be more than special.
I'm in, Savannah said. Good Lord, Gemma.
When a man and a woman, in this case, really, really love each other, what happens is they fuck.
Ooh. Hello?
Oh, dang it, I lost my fish.
This next word almost sounds like Quidditch. Quidditch milade Diana Agosiagath an Fiedian.
As much as I love fucking you, sweetness. We stared into each other's eyes whilst I moaned in ecstasy. Having consumed half of the bourbon. I keep saying bourbon. You know, every time I mess up on a word, Stunt Mama just shows up.
She had her seductive smile on her lips.
I said we couldn't have sex. I didn't say anything about everything else. Ew. Happy to help. Biatch. You are the spark of light in the vastness of my night. His note, like a finality to a beautiful, breathtaking song.
Good evening. Hello. How's everybody doing? It's good to see you all. It's been an eventful weekend. Let me tell you. Mal, congrats on getting first place. To the spoils, go the victor. To the victor, go the spoils. Whatever. Good job, is the end of the day. And Mama House Gaming, second place still matters, okay? Don't sell yourself short. It matters. And Phony's here. Hi, Phony. Good to see you. Hope you're well. And Farcliff's newest-ish member of the Hype Mine. Welcome in. Duck's here as well, getting almost second. And first-time chatter, Master Corgi. Good to see you. And, of course, Stunt Mama's mama in the house. And Kay's here. And our author is here. The funky fantasy man himself. Y'all, you're just blowing me away by this immediate support. And I appreciate it so much. I really do. I hope you've all had a good weekend so far. It's not quite over yet, but this is the time where we start to settle down and prepare ourselves for the week ahead. I don't know what you have in store for your week. I don't know if you're taking time off, if you're crammed with work, or if it's a bit of both. I know it's going to be an interesting work week for me, but can't really get into details about that yet. But either way, right now is an opportunity to cut out the world, okay? Just peace out everything else and focus on you, focus on my voice, listen to a book, listen to some calming music, play a puzzle if you want to, which, by the way, is right here, keeping with our castle theme, of course. So there you go. This is your chance. What's good, man? You know, I'm just trying to live in the moment. I really am. I have a small, well, it's a big announcement, but just no sharing it on social media, okay? And I'll get to that announcement here in a moment. So happy I get to catch your stream today, finally. It's my turn to share the sport. Well, you know what, Farcliffs? I am super happy that you could be here. I really am. And seriously, welcome to the Hype Mine. I hope you really enjoy it. I have so far. It's been a great community. Met some really awesome people. And, you know, settle in. Might not be able to comment as much because I'm driving. Well, you funky fantasy man. I know you're probably trucking. So yeah, don't be commenting. I don't want to hear about you flipping your rig at some point because you were trying to comment. That would not be helpful. Anola, hey, what's up?
Hello.
Good to see you. Hello to you too. Welcome in. Busy getting the house ready for the family for 4th of July party. Oh yeah. That's going to be fun. Wish I could be there. That'd be amazing. We are going to go see the new Despicable Me 4 movie on Thursday. We already have tickets. But beyond that, no plans. At all. Maybe we'll go downtown or something. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you. I really am enjoying it. It's been so amazing how positive everyone is and how supportive everyone is. That is the point of the Hype Mine. You know, it's a great place to interact with people, you know, chat when you can. You know, I can't be in there 24/7. No one expects you to, but it's a great place to connect with people, network, get to know one another, just hang out, make new friends, that kind of thing. So yeah, lean on that as much as you can. And for the people in here that don't know Farcliffs, they are, I want to say, still working on affiliate, if I'm remembering correctly. I think. Having a hard time remembering now. But if you're able, go say hi. They'll appreciate that. Mitchell's here. Hi there. I'm working towards it. I'm not reached affiliate yet. Okay, that's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. Mitchell, hello. Welcome in. Good to see you. Got your puzzle ready. It's a good one. Wish you could be here too. I appreciate that, Stump Mama's mama. One of these days, I'll just give you a surprise visit, and you'll never know. Until I get there. Then you'll know. That got weird. I've got my tea ready. I didn't get a nap in today. I wanted to, but life happened and time vanished. Oh, so good. There's something really special about a warm cup of tea. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. I really like to make my tea to that almost, I don't want to say golden brown, but it's almost like a caramel kind of color, at least to me, which means I've got just enough milk in there to, you know, make it look that way. It's good stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling. You don't care about tea. You came here to listen to a book or just doze off, you know, get ready for the night. Things start to get real in these coming chapters too. Oh boy. Did you hear that, folks? It's about to get real. I'm here for you. Thank you, Mama House Gaming. I'm here for you. And one stone cat is here. Don't get that confused with two stone cats, because that's not a thing. How are you? I'm here, but I'll be lurking while cooking dinner. Ooh, what are we cooking? What are we cooking? We ordered in tonight. Okay, I'll show you the tattoo. We ordered in. I had some amazing wings from a local barbecue place that just, they do it right. I had sauce just all over me. It was so good. Barbecue dry rub pork chops and mac and cheese. I was with you until you said mac and cheese, but you know what? If you like it, that's what matters. All right. Tattoo. Trying to get the angle here. Waving. It's waving. It's waving in the wind. And Hades here. Hi, Hades.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.
Thank you for that. Tattoos are addicting. I need more. I didn't think I would want more, but I kind of do. Don't tell anybody. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway. Exactly, Duck. I don't even know what you're talking about. Seriously, no mac and cheese? I roll. It's one of my favorites. Well, that means there's more for you, okay? I am doing you a favor by not eating it. You are welcome. My check better be in the mail. That's all I'm saying. Mad Locust, how are you? Man, there's so many people in here right now. I'm feeling overwhelmed. More mac and cheese is good mac and cheese. Oh, you silly people and your mac and cheese. You good? I'm glad to hear it. Let me switch over to the reading page, shall we? Or did I? No, I did not. There we go. Now we're on the reading page because there's a map. You had some for lunch. Well, you're serious then. More for you, less for me. It's overrated for sure. Thank you, Mama House Gaming. Thank you. Ramirez on air. Hey, Big Father. Hey, chat. Well, hello to you too. First time chatter. What's happening? Thanks for coming in here. Brits are weird. All right, Kay. That's it. You're getting a timeout. Amlas. Hi, Amlas. Don't you moi me. Oh, gosh. I had a yummy gourmet burger with spicy fries and chili mayo dip for dinner. Yeah. Excuse me. Someone's fancy. Love it. How's this shirt look, by the way? How's the red? Is it okay? Amlas, you can't be a mod and a VIP at the same time. You just wanted to use points. Okay. We did pizza at my house. I do enjoy a good pizza. I mostly prefer wood fire pizza, like true wood fire pizza. There are some places that will take a frozen pizza and then make it in a wood fire and then claim it's wood fire pizza. And I won't eat there because no, that is not true. Love the red. How are you feeling? I'm good. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. There's nothing better than a wood fire pizza. We can be friends. She's good for the most part. She, each day is a little bit better. So thank you for asking. No, it's got to be genuine, made right in front of your face. Yes. I mean, I'm not going to stand there and watch them, but because, that could be awkward. But there is a place semi-local to us. I say semi-local. It's technically the next town over, but it takes 20 minutes to get there. Excellent wood fire pizza. I can't remember exactly what's on it, but it's called the Capone. I get the Capone. I make a couple of small adjustments, but it's fine. New Figgle. Hey. No, they would have to clean the window from the drool coming down my face. I could say that much better. I could be like, they would have to clean the window from the drool coming out of my mouth and down my face. But yeah, fantastic. Well, hey, now that we're all here, and thank you all for being here, by the way. It's great to see you all. Like I said before, I am chuffed and overwhelmed by the support right now. We've got 45 minutes before an ad pops up, so why don't we get into the book, okay? This is a link that I'm posting for the author. That link right there for the exclamation point kingdom, that is the author page for the guy that wrote this amazing book. Please feel free to click on that and check it out. And we'll get started. I'm going to go into look mode though. Going to hang out with my husband. That works. And thank you, Fantasy Man, the author himself, by the way. That is his link tree for other social options if you want to check that out as well. I always do a Justin's My Pizza order too. Usually it's chicken, bacon, and sausage with extra cheese, chili flakes, and Bernier sauce. I'm not familiar with the sauce, but the rest of that sounds good. I do like a little kick in my pizza. I like red flakes on my pizza. All right. We are on chapter 5 of our book. It's called... Oh, thank you, Viking Official, for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I don't know why those aren't showing up.
Hello.
Oh, there it is. All right. That was super delayed. It's also using my old logo. I gotta change that. That's embarrassing. I am not Atkinson 1020 anymore. Note to self, change image. And hello to you too. Welcome in. We're just about to get started. Thank you for being here. I have a beignet sauce on London broil. Of course you do, Stop Mama's Mama. Of course you do. All right, I'm getting sidetracked. Chapter 5, The God King. Before the chapter starts, there's a little quotation here that says, "The world is dark, but there is hope. To find it, you need only look." Words to live by, I think, especially if you're in the United States right now. All right, so with that in mind, sit back, relax, and I'll read to you. "Watch it, Sindral," Eliath yelled. He'd nearly tripped over her feet during their game of tag. Sindral jumped out from her hiding spot, a thick pine tree, and playfully stuck her tongue out. I'm already nailing it. I'm only 2 sentences in. She moved a stray piece of hair away from her eye. "Out of all the years we've played tag, you still let me trick you. I've already won 5 rounds. That's because you have longer legs than me, Allie." Sindral snickered before making a beeline toward the opposite end of the forest. As he chased after his sister, he let his mind wander with excitement. The thought of training at last, and also experiencing the Life Festival, had him in high spirits. Eliath stopped himself just before crashing into Zylok. Can't turn pages either. It's fine. "And where exactly do you think you're off to, lad?" Before Eliath said anything, Sindral popped her head out from behind the old man and smiled deviously. Looking back up to Zylok, he grinned widely. "I was only playing a fun game of tag with my sister. I wasn't up to anything sneaky." Zylok's silver eyes stayed serious for another moment, before he leaned his head back and boomed with laughter. Oh, I know. I just wanted to give you a hard time. You kids are the only joy I get out of this world. I have to tease you, otherwise I'll go mad with boredom. Eliath crossed his arms. If you say so, old bat. Just remember who I'm going to be someday. Zylock ran his rough hand through his long beard before mumbling under his breath and scratching his head. Who exactly are you going to be? Eliath protested with his fist in the air. I'm going to be the next warlock of the land, the most powerful magic wielder who ever lived. That's a promise. Zylock leaned back, laughed, and patted him on the back. Such big promises, lad. And I don't doubt your capability. With me as your teacher, there won't be anything you can't accomplish. Zylock looked over in the distance and his eyes got serious for a moment. Come on. We need to meet your uncle. I've got to get this war business taken care of. Gray's here. Hi, Gray. Hi. Eliath tilted his head and attempted to draw more information from the old man. What kind of war business? Is there something bad going on? Wait, is there a war? Zylock reassured him with a wave. Well, yes and no. I can't really explain it to you without making your tiny brain explode. Just let the grown-ups worry about grown-up business, and you continue being a child. And Dark's sister's here. Hi, Dark. How are you? Gray has arrived. Dark has arrived. Everybody's here. Let me just jot your names down real quick before I forget, because that would be bad. Thank you for being here. I'm great and happy to be here. How are you? Excellent. Doing well. Just getting started with our reading, so you're just in time. Eliath scoffed and kicked some dirt. I'm not a child. I'm 8. Sindril stuck out her tongue again and sucker punched her brother in the stomach. You are most definitely a child. Now stop being a brat. Eliath lunged forward and pulled on her hair before laughing and darting off toward a large cave entrance. Sindril chased after him, screaming insults, while Zylock continued laughing as he followed them. As Eliath approached the enormous stone wall, he became excited as he saw a phrase etched into the rocks. Vicilius, capital city of Sundaspor. Amazing. Eliath didn't get to see his uncle or cousin very often. Long before his birth, Kairos left Targus and took over Vicilius as king. People had been living horrible lives, fending for food and struggling to make ends meet since after the Second Age. That all changed when Kairos took over. Eliath was proud to be part of such an amazing family. The sound of footsteps racing caused him to remove his fixated gaze. An older, blonde-haired boy put him in a headlock and chuckled. Fussing and squirming, Eliath pulled hard and escaped. He immediately brought his scrawny arms up and prepared for a fight. The older boy laughed. What are you going to do, cousin? You're not planning on trying to wrestle me again, are you? Well, good day, Ezra. How have things been in your city of late? Zylock walked forward and slapped the boy on the back a couple of times before grinning widely. Ezra sucked in a deep breath, and his body tensed for a moment before gaining his composure. You know, I hate it when you do that, old man. He motioned with his hand toward the open cave. Things have been good here.
That's amazing.
Aw, Gray, thank you so much for gifting a sub, and to our author of all people. That is fantastic. Well deserved, since we're reading his book. And without trying to lose my place, we will now spin the wheel. If I can find the thing, here it is. What are you going to make me do? Hammer curls. Love it. Hammer. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I don't appreciate that I now need to do 5 curls, but actually I do. I haven't done them in a while, so it's fine. I'm not sure why it's not updating though, unless it's just super delayed, which it very well could be. Hello? Hello? I mean, on Stream Elements, it's not delayed. It's showing there. But why is it not showing here? This is the question. All right, well, I've got it up on the other screen. I know there's 5. Silly technology. All right, anyway, we'll get to all that at the end of the chapter. So don't let me forget. Things have been good here. Father finally got our armies up to par on training and such. Unfortunately, our Master-at-Arms position is still lacking a willing candidate. Perhaps you know of someone? He looked in the old man's direction. Zylok stroked his beard and mumbled something incoherent before raising a finger. I might know someone. I'll have to ask Kairos what he thinks. Ezra nodded in confirmation. Very well. I'll take you to my father. He's ready to have the meeting now. Eliath stared at his cousin. In the dark cave, only a few random torches gave a low hue and made it difficult to see much. The only thing he could see was everyone's eyes, and most specifically his cousin's, which were glowing emerald. It had been a few years since he last saw Ezra, and he was too young at the time to recall much. The maturity in his kin's appearance shocked him. I'm going to spread the love. I'll be back. This book seems really interesting. Yeah, no wonder, Dark. Absolutely. Shares the love. Are you okay, brother? Sindril wrapped him into a side hug and laid her head on his shoulder. I'm doing fine. Eliath hated lying to his sister. However, he didn't want to cause a commotion. His cousin always made it a point to show off his strength the few times they'd been together, and it made him jealous. He wanted more than anything in the world to be strong, like the rest of his family. I know you aren't telling the truth, little brother, but you always end your sentences early when you lie. I just wish I could compete with the grown-ups. That's all. Ezra is so much stronger than me, and he always takes advantage of that. And on top of that, Zylok still hasn't helped me understand my dream from a few days ago. He let out a soft sigh. You're too hard on yourself, Eliath. There will be a time and a place for you to rise, and if you want Zylok to help you, just ask him again. Sindril gave him an encouraging smile. Eliath let go of his sister and gave his gratitude with a simple nod. Light poured in from the cave opening, and he stepped out into the open heart of Vasilius. Pulse racing, he jumped backward. 2 horses were pulling a large wagon full of barrels and boxes. The rider threw his hands up in a rude gesture as he passed them by. Watch where you're going, foreigners. Zylok threw his hand up in response and spat on the ground. Well, that's no way to be greeted. He then aimed his hand at the rider and sent forth a blast of purplish-white energy, which took the form of a ghostly figure. Zylok pointed at the horses, and the energy blob flew forward. A moment later, the horses neighed loudly and paused, standing up on their hind legs, causing the wagon to fall to the ground. The rider sporadically tried to free himself before the energy ghost went for him. The man threw himself out of the carriage and dashed into the streets, screaming how he hated foreigners the whole time. Zylok looked back at everyone and grunted with a satisfied smirk. That's what he gets for disrespecting a wizard. He patted down his blue and black garments, attempting to remove the new specks of splattered mud. Ezra came up and bowed his apologies. I'll get someone to clean that for you. You have to watch out for Gustav. He's one of the nastiest people in the kingdom. But Father says we have to allow him access in and out because he brings us our largest supply of oil and water. Zylok seemed to relax for a moment, but it didn't last long. With his head held high, he folded his arms. I am no foreigner. I am a bloody wizard, and anyone with their salt knows who I am. The name Zylok Grey is known far and wide, and yes, we know, all three kids responded with a dismissive wave. Zylok's mouth hung open. Well, I'll be. What's an old man got to do to receive some respect? As Eliath trudged forward, droplets of sweat fell from his forehead onto the gold dirt. A loud buzzing sound close to his ear, followed by a sharp sting on his neck. He brought his hand down onto his skin with a smack. When he removed his palm, he found a large, crimson-bodied mosquito oozing blood from its flattened form. Tossing the deceased insect to the ground, he rubbed his throbbing spot on his neck. I hate mosquitoes. He'd forgotten how large insects were in the southern city of Vasilius, because of its neighboring bond with the Emerald Sea. Eliath remembered stories his uncle would tell him about pirates closing in on the shoreline, threatening to raid and destroy. However, Kairos had stood alone on the sandy shores and destroyed all the ships with a single attack. The story stuck with Eliath through the years, and it was something that made his small mind wonder. What else was out in the vast open world? As he continued walking, he found Zylok holding his palm out. Small purple and white specks of energy danced around his fingers. The old man's way with magic always amazed Eliath. As they neared closer to the castle, he began hearing conversations in the town from the shop owners and travelers. Did you hear about the recent attack in Bloodthorn? No, I didn't. But I heard about the Black Storm Riders that were recently in Ocean City. Oh, those damn hooded beasts are a problem. They better not come down here. Oh, the God King would destroy them. How much longer can Dun Nahar go without another war? Another war? That was the question of the century. The land of Dun Nahar had survived 2 major wars in its 10,000 years of existence. But that didn't account for all the small conflicts and fights that took place among cities and people. Royalty in the south had started many problems in the Iron Age, and it was why 7 of the 8 kingdoms changed the way their political systems functioned. That's why Eliath loved listening in on people's conversations and gossip. Gemma. Hi, Gemma. How are ya? Oh, long time no see. I hope you're well. He learned a lot about history simply from being nosy. If he didn't have his face in a book, he was off, causing mischief somewhere. However, there was one thing he enjoyed more than being nosy, and that was trying to find exciting artifacts to play with. Excuse me. He didn't want to have to look any further than Xylok's belt. He reached his hand up toward a few dangling crystals and tried to snag one, but the old man smacked his hand. I'm good, looking forward to surgery in November. Must be a good surgery then if you're looking forward to it. You're welcome to share unless you don't want to get into details, which I completely understand, but I hope it goes well. And I'm going to take a quick sip of tea. Hot. Just spilled water on myself. Skin removal from my stomach. Okay. Well, yeah, I really do hope that goes well. Itchy. Thank you for coming in. It's good to see you. Completely lost my place. Oh, never mind. Top of page 63. Don't touch things that aren't yours, Xylok scolded. Eliath frowned and dropped his head, but when he looked back up, the wizard held a small diamond-shaped box with black markings on it. He tilted his head in confusion. What's that? It's, well... Xylok paused for a moment before handing him the box. It's a training exercise. See if you can open it, and if you do, we will stop for a tasty treat. Eliath bobbed his head excitedly as he grabbed the container and began fidgeting with it. He tried forcing it open with his natural strength, but it wouldn't budge. He found a decent-sized rock on the ground, so he picked it up and started knocking it against the container. It still wouldn't budge. He looked over at the wizard, whose palm exuded a small bit of purple energy. Eliath frowned. I wish I knew more about magic. After a few more minutes of attempting different ways, he tried one last option. Closing his eyes and yawning. My goodness, I'm so sorry. It's like every time I read. Closing his eyes, he thought about what magic looked like when the old man used it, and a moment later, he felt a small tickle inside his chest. He looked at his hand and found small sparkles of jade light. Small sparkles of jade light particles moving from his fingers into the box. A small click sounded, and the box opened up.
I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.
Yes, you are. I did it! Eliath looked inside. I need more tea. And found a small stick. Immediately, he became uninterested again and glared at the old man. What kind of trickery is this? It's just a bloody stick. Boo, you suck. That is not very nice. Eliath tossed the stick at the old man, who caught it. A mere stick? You say? I should. I really should. I really needed that nap today. I should have taken one. I also need to figure out why my stuff isn't showing up properly. Like, why is the hammer stuff not appearing when I tell it to? Is it because I didn't capitalize it? What's the wheel for? So instead of just doing one type of exercise, when someone subs or gifts a sub, I spin a wheel, and for each one of those, I'll add 5 to the squats, the push-ups, the hammer curls, or the regular curls. We had a sub a little while ago, which should have added 5 hammer curls to my count. And it did in Stream Elements, but not on the page. And it's annoying me. Because from what I can tell, it is correct. Gemma, thank you for this for the gift sub to KD Killer 25. That was not an excuse to do it, although I do appreciate it. Thank you. So now we do this. Spin. More hammer curls. All right, I swear it's rigged. I swear it's rigged. So I go like this. Nope, that's not what I do. Nope, still. Oh, I just lost my page. And now I owe 10. Gosh darn it. My page flipped over. It's all right. I got it back. I'm just trying to figure out why it's not updating on here. Because it should. And it's not. Why are you a problem for me?
You gifted a sub? That's amazing.
Gray, you're trying to mess with me over here? Thank you for giving Duck a sub. Now stop it. If it does hammer curls again. Oh, all right. So Gray, you gave the sub. You get to pick squats, curls, hammer curls, or push-ups. You get to choose. I will add 5 to whatever it is. What say you? Oh, I see what the problem is. I see now. Okay. I know what the problem is. I was supposed to do capital H, not lowercase. Got to remember that. Of course, now it's not displaying for some reason. I don't understand. What is happening? What just happened? Hold on. You're forwarding your gifted sub to Charox. My gosh. Okay, let me spin. Gray, I still need to know from you what I'm supposed to add to the wheel here. Thank you, guys. I can't tell if you're doing this to be nice to me or if you want me to suffer. I'm not sure. Can't tell. Save. Why aren't you saving? I don't understand. We always want you to suffer. That's fair. I was just paying forward, so being nice. Yes, you are. So let me spin for you. Oh, I get to pick. Haha. Gray, what do you want me to do? You landed on chat picks, which means you get to pick because you were the one that gifted the sub. Do you want squats, curls, hammer curls, or push-ups? And now I'm trying to figure out why my thingy-me-bob isn't working. Nothing's working. And I'm not a fan. I like it when it works. Let's see. Oh, you want push-ups. Okay. We can do that. We can do that. We'll add 5 to that. And I'm going to do, so for the forwarded one that, the gift that Duck did to pay it forward, I'm going to add it to regular curls because why the heck not? Why the heck not? Didn't add from the last go. Well, see, it is there. It's just not displaying, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Because if I have single digits, it works. But as soon as I go to double digits, it does not. Tell me why. Oh, I see. I think I got it. Boom. I got it. Nailed it. See, I know what I'm doing. All right. Everything's fine. So 10 hammer curls, 5 push-ups, and 5 curls. That's correct. That is correct. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Wait, I have a... Ain't nothing but a heartache. Just add a little reverb to that. Applause. Thank you for the applause. Okay. I need to get to the end of the chapter, though, which, based on how things are going, ain't going to happen. All right. We're on page 63, okay? We are here to read a story, just in case anyone forgot. I almost did. Right. Eliath just opened the box using magic. Going to find something for dinner. Ooh, great idea. Food is good. Okay. Zylok paused for a moment before handing him the box. Oh wait, it's a training exercise. Okay, we already read that. Gosh darn it. We're at the bottom of the page. Okay, I'm fine. We're good. Everything's okay. A mere stick, you say? Zylok asked, holding the stick in his fingers. No, it's not just a stick. Watch carefully. The old man tossed the small fragment of wood into the sky. A moment passed, with nothing happening, but a few seconds later exploded into colorful fireworks, causing people in the streets to clap excitedly. Eliath was just as astonished as the rest as he watched the brilliant colors streak across the sky, causing a rainbow effect to reflect off the sun. He continued watching until the fiery energy dissipated. A heartbeat later, an overwhelming aroma of something greasy wafted through the air. It was so strong, he thought for a moment that he could physically see the flavor. Finally, seeing what his nose caught first, he nearly drooled. A plump man stood behind a counter with a large chopping board and a butcher knife. Directly behind him was a large, charred animal, a wild boar by the looks of it, spinning slowly on a large wooden spike. Beneath it lay an open fire, its smoke enveloping the meat. Enveloping. I always say enveloping. I do it every time. Eliath tugged on Xylok's belt and looked at him with pleading eyes. "Can we have some?" He pointed enthusiastically towards his desire. "I opened your stupid magic box, so I get a treat, right?" Xylok winked and walked over to the business owner. He reached into a purple bag he wore on his waist and pulled out 3 bronze coins. Rubbing his fingers over the currency, he stepped up to the counter. "Greetings, friends." The store owner put his hands on his hips and offered a cheerful smile. "Are you interested in some wild boar?" Xylok nodded and set the money down. "Will that be enough to cover the cost?" Eyeing the coins as if he'd never seen that much money before, the owner snatched them up and put them in his pocket. "That'll do just fine. How much you liking today?" Xylok turned back to look at Eliath and grinned. "I'll take 4 servings, please. However, can you make one of them a double?" "Oh, yes, sir. I can do that. Give me a few and I'll have that out to you." A few minutes later, the man brought out 4 plates. Eliath walked up happily and bowed his thanks to the owner and immediately dug in. Saliva came out of parts of his mouth he didn't think possible. The tenderness of the boar, with the added seasonings, was so delicious that he finished his meal before ever looking up at the rest of the family. His family, excuse me. He held the plate up to the store owner. "Thank you, sir. That was very good. What seasoning did you put in it?" The man took the plate and his cheeks went red. "Well, thank you kindly, son. That pleases me to hear you liked it. This be my own special recipe. It had rosemary, cayenne, sea salt, and garlic." Eliath pointed at Xylok. "You've got to remember that recipe to give to my father. I don't think I can have meat ever again unless it's cooked like that." Sindril nodded in agreement. "I agree. I'm not as much of a glutton as my brother, but even I have to admit that meat was out of this world." Xylok's eyes narrowed. He turned and got down on one knee and brought both siblings close. "How do you know it wasn't from another world, eh?" Eliath tilted his head and pointed at the old man. "I don't care if it was. It was delicious." He crossed his arms with a satisfied smirk. Ezra waved his hand back and forth at them. "Are we gonna stand here all day, or can we get to the castle? I'd like to get to the war business with my father taken care of sooner rather than later." With that, they all continued their journey through the busy streets. "Rexter! Hello, I apologize, I'm gonna lurk. I'm playing Diablo." "No apologies. It's good to have you here. Enjoy Diablo." Eliath continued wiping the sweat from his body. The moisture in the air was so thick he felt as though he could physically see it. Eliath preferred the cool, dry climate of Targus. Boiling heat and humidity wasn't something he was used to. He looked forward and saw a pair of soldiers dueling. Their brilliant silver clashed against each other in harmonious cacophonies. Eliath's pulse quickened as they got closer. He studied how graceful the 2 opponents were on their feet. They circled around one another like a lion does with prey. Before he could finish watching them, his attention became drawn to bright flashes of lightning and fire. On his left side were 2 cloaked men. their hands glowing with luminescent azure light. Eliath wanted nothing more than to dive into action. However, he didn't know how to perform any spells. It didn't matter how many times he'd begged his parents to go off with Zylok to train. They denied him every time and said it was for his own good. Was training really that dangerous? Why couldn't his parents just allow him to train? Sindril would always sneak off and train with Melendriel, and he'd remain the good brother and kept quiet. But now, he wanted things to change. Many days he'd go spend time with the old wizard in his chambers or in the forest, but he wanted to train. Looking up at the old man, he thought to himself, I wonder if I'll ever be as strong as him. But before he knew it, he was standing before 2 iron swords. 2 guards stood on either side, and one of them came forward to Ezra and saluted. Welcome, my prince. Who are these people with you? Ezra returned the salute. Hello, Ser Cretan. This is my family. We're here to see my father. Lulu, thank you for the lyric. Lulu is playing 7 Days to Die right now. And so far, as far as I'm aware, not dying. So, that's good. Crichton nodded. Very well, sir. He stepped out of the way and motioned the guards to the door. A second later, a booming thud sounded as the doors swung open and the large open courtyard greeted them. Eliath shot forward with lightning speed toward the fountain. 2 tall, sculpted statues sat on either side. One of them seemed newer to Eliath. He studied the masterpiece and tried to figure out who it has been modeled after. Luckily, his cousin had come up to join him. Do you like the new statue? Ezra rested his hand on Eliath's shoulder. Uh-huh. Eliath's arm stood on end. I figured you did. That is Elder God Edith. Father wanted to honor him. Did you say... Or maybe it's Edith. I said Edith. British, kind of. Anyway. Zylok walked up and admired the statue for himself. That sure brings me back. You know him? Sindril tugged on the old man's shirt. Zylok simply chuckled and kept walking. He waved his hand forward for everyone to follow. Come on. The Kairos is surely becoming impatient waiting for us. Then there's a break in the story. One of those cool-looking swords telling us that time has moved on, changed scenes, new people, that kind of stuff. Edith. That's... As soon as I said Edith, I was like, no, that's not right. That tea is so good. Eliath Sindril. Kairos Zane. Pick them up and squeeze them tightly. How are you both doing? It feels like ages since we last met. Eliath struggled to escape his uncle's bear hug. I can't breathe. Kairos looked down. The children's faces had turned a light shade of red, so he released them. Sorry about that. I just can't help how excited I get to see my niece and nephew. As he saw Zylok, his face became serious. So, down to business, yes? What brings you to my kingdom? I just received a letter from Corey yesterday informing me of your arrival. My brother didn't, however, give many details. Zylok looked around the room. Slowly, he motioned with his hand at Ezra and then towards the door. And I'm going to snooze an ad. Ezra nodded his reply. Come on, cousins. let's go find Mistress Yandra and get a treat. Eliath remained defiant as usual. I want to stay with the grown-ups. I can handle it. Zylok placed a hand on the boy's head. Someday, you'll be able to. For now, go with your cousin and have some fun. I won't be long. After the room was empty of prying ears, Zylok pulled out a bulky item covered in black silks and dropped it on the table. Cairo studied the mystery. His hazel eyes drifted up to the old man, and he gritted his teeth. That's not what I think it is it? It most certainly is. Zylok removed the silks and revealed a strange circular object. Black and silver metal bars twisted together like snakes wrapped around prey. At the top and bottom, they connected to one another, and within the center was a glowing azure orb, flickering on and off. Zylok placed his hands over it and spoke a few words before his eyes glowed purple and energy poured out of him and into the orb. A few moments later, the glowing artifact became dim, and the old wizard powered down. Taking a few deep breaths, he wrapped the garments over the object and placed it back in his bag. Kairos took a deep breath and ran his hand through his blonde hair. So, he's going to return then. It's only a matter of time. I'm not sure how long or how much longer I can keep the enchantment on the prison sealed. Zylok slammed his fist against the table. Merrick has no idea on what to do, and neither does Meridian. Your brother thought you might have some ideas as their elder sibling. Perhaps something Edith told you in your few encounters? Can you think of anything that will stop our enemy? Kairos slumped down in a chair at the end of the long table. He grabbed a large pitcher of wine and filled 2 goblets, handing one to Zylok. Look, my brother Merrick is strong, as am I. Our family has been one of the strongest on our lands for years, just like yours. However, the Black Hood is still a mystery to us. For the countless years we've been fighting him, we still haven't killed him. Permanently, at least. The prison you threw him in is the only thing that's ever stopped him. He's been trapped for 200 years. If he's able to break out of that, I honestly don't know what we can do to stop him. One of the wizard's eyebrows arched as he spoke. I do have an idea, lad. No one in Targus wanted to listen to me, but perhaps you will. Oh man, he's gonna bring out the dark magic, isn't he? He's been told not to do that, but that's what he's gonna do. It's inevitable. He took a swig of wine and continued. I have studied all forms of magic over many years on this earth, and I still believe wholeheartedly that the only way to beat darkness is with darkness. There it is. I have a way to create a powerful warrior with a unique spell. Would you be willing to become that warrior? Are you willing to sacrifice your pride to save our world? Kairos slammed his fist down. A loud crack sounded as a line cascaded through the wood, breaking off a large section of the table. You're unbelievable. You know what my views on dark magic are. Merrick and Meridian turned you down, so you thought I would I'd welcome your idea with open arms? Zylok scoffed. You're still as arrogant as ever, boy. Get a hold of yourself. I've tried to teach you and Merrick time and time again that magic should be learned to its fullest. The world isn't full of sugar and honey. It's full of darkness and evil. But I won't press the subject any further. I'll figure it out another way myself. Zylok's voice sounded angry, but his eyes showed sadness. He pointed at the large chunk of broken mahogany. Looks like you need a table now, too. Zylok, forget it. The old man smiled and lifted his glass. On another subject, I have a candidate for your master-at-arms position. Kairos' demeanor seemed brighter with the change in subject. Do you? Tell me more. His name is Captain Smith. He's one of the best men I know, and he's skilled in all forms of combat and weaponry. You can send a letter to the city of Sandor if you're interested in him. Zylok ended his statement by finishing his glass of wine and rising from his seat. As they made their way to the door, Zylok looked at Kairos. Without removing his gaze, he pointed at the broken shards on the floor and snapped his fingers. A bolt of purple and black energy leaped forth, swirling around the fragments. Within a few seconds, the table was fully restored. Zylok cracked his neck, then winked. Kairos' mouth flinched for a moment. Well then. Zylok chuckled. Well, I can't have my friends spending money on a new table, can I now? The wizard moved his hand behind his back and shook out his fingers. Kairos smiled as he guided them out to the open corridor. Zylok shook the man's hand and placed his other hand on Kairos' forearm. It was good to see you, old friend. I'm sorry that we couldn't see eye to eye on my proposition. Are you staying for the Life Festival? Zylok nodded curtly. We are. Excellent. It would be good for the children to spend time with one another. I agree. I was going to have a small training session with Alioth and Sindril before the festival tonight. Do you think Ezra would want to join? Kairos hesitated for a moment, but finally smiled. Why not? Below in the courtyard, Ezra, Sindril, and Alioth chased each other around in circles. Purple and yellow flower petals shot up and drifted in the air. The smell of salty spray from the ocean wafted in. Both Zylok and Kairos looked upon the children wistfully. The wizard thought of old memories as he looked upon the next generation of children. Look at them. Kay got a bounce, I understand. Get some good rest, Kay. I know you gotta get up early. Ugh. I hope that doesn't continue for very long for you. Good night. Look at them. So innocent. They have no idea what truly lies out in the world. The jaws of death simply wait idly to clamp its teeth into those souls. I hope they never have to experiencing anything like that in their lives. Zylok, come down and play. Snapping out of his daydream, he looked down to find Alioth, hands cupped around his mouth, and the look of excitement in his eyes. Zylok decided to indulge the child and join in on the fun. He looked to Kairos and grunted. Well, what do you say? Want to show these kids a couple of tricks? Shrugging his shoulders, Kairos laughed. Why not? I haven't had a good workout in a while. Removing his hands from the balcony rails, Zylok jumped into the air and floated. Snaking lines of purple energy moved across his body like pulsing waves. Then he disappeared from sight. Kairos followed suit, and both Alioth and Sindril stood with mouths gaping as they witnessed the miraculous sight. Ezra didn't seem fazed by what happened, but he wore a small smile, and his eyes were open wide. After a moment of silence, Zylok and Kairos both reappeared in the middle of the children. Alioth clapped enthusiastically and jumped up and down. You did the teleporting thing again. Zylok cleared his throat and held up one finger. We call it phasing, lad. Will you teach us, please? Alioth grabbed the old man's arm and shook it. Sindral showed the same level of eagerness to learn as her brother did. She wasn't jumping up and down, but her eyes were twinkling. "We won't tell Mother and Father if you teach us. I'm with Elias on this one. I really want to learn." Zylok took one look at Kairos, who had his hand against his forehead. Before addressing the children, he crossed his arms. "Well, I would teach you. However, I don't think your parents would be too happy if they found you phasing in and out of rooms you weren't allowed in." Zylok put his hands on their shoulders and bent to one knee. "Someday, when the time is right, I'll teach you how to do it. Right now, you're not strong enough." He pointed at Ezra with a half-cocked grin. "Your cousin is 18, and he still hasn't learned the spell. Trust me, you'll be taught when the time is right." "BZ, what's up? How the heck are ya?" Eliath kicked a rock nearby and hung his head, but a second later wore a smile on his face with his arms crossed. "Okay, I'll hold you to it." His face showed sadness as he cleared his throat. "I still need to talk with you about my dream." Zylok's eyes widened. "That's right. Why don't you and I go talk about it?" He waved at Kairos as he walked away. "Take Ezra and Sindral down to Salte City, and we'll meet you there in a bit." Kairos nodded. "Very well. Don't be too long. The festival starts in just under an hour." Zylok walked away toward the forested cliffs behind the castle and prepared his mind for what he was about to do. And that is chapter 5. Good stuff. So, even though dark magic is still on his mind, it's not happening, at least not yet. Part of me wonders, though, if Kairos is going to change his mind at some point. I feel like this dark magic thing isn't just going to go away. You know what I mean? All right. Let me take a quick sip, and then we have some push-ups, some hammer curls, and some regular curls to do. You won't be able to see me do the push-ups, but I will be down there. Let me turn on the other camera. All right, let's do the thing. We did it.
Done. All right, I have to run a 2-minute ad. Because if I don't, it's going to do it for me.
Drink! 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 Drink!
Drink? I can do that. As soon as I get myself, back in position. Thank you again for those gifted subs. I greatly appreciate it. There we go. All right. Delish. We'll start reading again once the supposed ad is over. I tell it to run an ad, but I never know if it's actually running or not. I don't know. Not a clue. In the meantime, I'll take a quick gander at how long chapter 6 is. Page 86, starting on page 73. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That should get us to about the end. Enough time to go raid out and find someone else to share the love with, as they say. Mitchell's cracking away at the puzzle. Piece by piece, little by little. It's a tough one. It is a tough puzzle. Can't lie there. All right. Ads are done, so that's taken care of. It is tough. Lately, you guys have been just nailing the puzzles, so I had to raise the bar. You've only done it to yourself. You are a victim of your own success, as they say. All right. Everyone doing okay? Anyone need a stretch break? Chance to move about the cabin?
Yeah, hi. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
We have. You should get on that extended warranty. Ash is here. Still here and awake? Wonderful. Hi, Ash. I want to make sure I get shout-outs in for the gifted subs earlier. How are you, madam? Let's see, we had Gray. And also Duck. Wow. Happy I don't have to work tonight? There you go. Wheelhouse, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to start that sentence again. We also have a bunch of other streamers in here that have kindly shared their presence with me. I'm going to do my best to name them off. Malico, who was first. Phony, who was in here, also a streamer. Farcliff, which we did a shout out before. They're a streamer working on affiliates. One Stone Cat, who was in here, also a streamer. Dark Sister, who was sharing the love with others, is also a new streamer working on affiliate. And BZ, that just came in, also a streamer. Ash is a streamer. Gosh. Rexter, Mama House Gaming, Gemma. There's so many people in here that stream. So click on the people thing, click on the hearts, and then when they go live next, you can pop in and see what they're all about. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The other story I'm going to stick to is this one. We are on chapter 6, called The Life Festival, which is appropriate since that's literally why they're there in the city that they're in right now, or one of the reasons at least. So without further ado, here's chapter 6. Eliath took a seat on a large rock and put his hands on his knees. Okay, now what? He asked. Zylok released a deep and slow breath before placing his hand on the boy's head. I want you to think hard about what you saw in your dream. Focus hard and let nothing distract you. Elia's heart raced and his eyes darted back and forth. I'm scared. I don't want to see them all dead again. If we are to truly understand your dream, then we have to delve into it. I promise I'll make this quick so we can go have fun at the festival. He leaned in and hugged him. Lady Lurky, I was going to comment before you started the chapter, but I like to cause drama. Lady Lurky is Australian, so that checks out. Actually, that has nothing to do with it. Hi, Lurky. How are you? Eliath pointed at the old man. You better promise we'll train after the festival. It seems like no matter what, things keep coming up. Yes, I promise, lad. Now close your eyes and think about your dream. Wavy purple energy seeped out of his hand and covered the boy's head. Eliath gritted his teeth and concentrated. Images of the cloaked man with purple eyes flashed through his mind. Then the purple energy on his head exploded outward. His head started hurting and his hands trembled. Okay, open your eyes, young master. He obeyed and was greeted by his dream playing out before him. What is this, Zylok? What did you do? I reached into your memory and pulled it out with a dreamcast. I used to have a dreamcast. What I want to know is why the Black Hood is there. Zylok walked up to the energy image of the evil warlock. You said this happened to you after Belgazar showed off his crystals? Eliath nodded and swallowed the lump in his throat. Yes. A huge explosion of energy soared out, and the next thing I knew, I was in the dream. He looked at the hooded menace and pointed. Zalran was about to kill me. That's Eliath. Zalran was about to kill me before I was back in reality. Zalran? Zylok stroked his beard. Don't you mean the Black Hood? I don't know. He called himself Zalran. Well, I see then. With a wave of his hand, the energy disappeared. I've never known Belgazar to force someone into a divination. I'm guessing somehow one of his crystals got tainted. Someone wanted you to see this dream. I promise you, I'll find out. But for now, let's try to enjoy the festival. After that, we'll get to training. He held out his hand. Eliath nodded before the wizard phased them to the beachfront. It only took a few minutes from there to arrive at the small port city of Saltai. Saltai. I can't word tonight. I'm done. Loud music filled the air as people danced around a large fire next to the water. Merchants and fishermen moved up and down the beaten road, dragging carts and wagons full of fish, roast meats, and other festival treats. Hints of ocean salt, grease, and sugar entered Eliath's nose. Countless logs circled the colossal fire, and Sindral, Ezra, and Cairo sat at the far end, closest to the wooden podium. Dancers in exotic attire moved elegantly, some slapping tambourines together, while bulky shirtless men pounded on large drums. The pink and red of the sky painted a picture on the horizon, with the sun slowly descending. Eliath followed Zylok to a wooden cart next to the village huts. The old man waved at the plump gentleman behind the counter. You said it right the first time, actually. It's Salte. Is it Salte? Is that how I'm supposed to say it? Or is it Saltai? I don't remember which way I said it. Salte. I feel like Salte is correct. Maybe? For those of you that don't know, the Funky Fantasy Man is the author of this book. And, since we're taking a quick second, please click on that link if you have not. Go check out his work. I'm assuming it's Salte, like Ote. What do you have to sell, good sir? The wizard asked. The owner smiled wildly and pulled out a large metal rack. Wooden sticks holding slabs of various roast meats simmered. I've got lots to choose from, friends. Venison, wild boar, chicken, and my personal favorite, viper fish. Aw, Lulu. Speaking of one of my friends, Lulu, thank you for the raid, which I'm part of, because I was in your stream. How are you? How was the rest of 7 Days to Die? Did you finally get murdered by zombies? Or did you survive the night? To live to fight another day? We just started reading chapter 6 of our book. We are at a festival on the beach, and looks like we're about to pick out some delicious food. So if you're hungry, you might want to get some food for yourself. Which one would you like, lad? Zylok asked, motioning toward the tasty snacks with a smile. Eliath perused his options. He held up 2 fingers. Can I have one of the viper fish and one of the venison? Zylok chuckled and grabbed 1 bronze ingle from his side pouch and handed it to the owner. I'll take 2 of the venison and 2 of the viper fish. Yue's here. Hey, lurky lurk. No worries. Thank you, Yue. I appreciate you. I hope you're well. Eliath rubbed his hands together excitedly. He couldn't wait to try the new meat and compare it to his treat earlier in the day. The shop owner handed them their food. The boy took a bite and chewed on it thoughtfully as he headed to the seating area next to their family. Eliath plopped down between Zylok and his cousin and held up his viper fish to Ezra while smirking. Have you tried this before? Ezra swallowed his sugar bread and nodded. Sure have. It's a common fish down here. Eliath took his first bite of the exotic meat, and his saliva glands exploded. He tapped his foot quickly as he chewed and tried to contain his joy.
This is the best fish I've ever had. He pointed at his uncle with a sly grin. You've been holding out on us. We don't have any fish this delicious in the north. Kairos laughed and took a swig of ale. You'll have to go fishing over in Stonehaven someday. They've got some good wildlife up there. But you are right, nephew. We have great fishing in the south. Eliath took another bite of the crispy meat and nudged his cousin. I bet you love living so close to the festival. I do. It's nice living close to so many towns and cities. Surely you have a festival in the north, right? Zylok pulled the prison orb out of his side pouch and fiddled with it. We have the ice festival each year in the month. Each year in the month, Black Frost. People come from all round to see the sculptures, go snowdrifting and ice fishing. It's a grand time, but nothing like this. Today, we celebrate something far greater. Eliath eyed Zylok's artifact and held out his hand. Can I hold it? Just for a few minutes? Zylok hesitated, but eventually sighed and handed it over. Don't fiddle with it. You can look at it, but no sticking your fingers through the bars or doing anything else with it. I'm kind of shocked that he's giving this to him. Like, this is holding their enemy prisoner, and he's just like, okay, you can hold it, but don't touch it. Eliath nodded and took the object. He stared into the pulsing purple orb. It was exciting to hold one of the old man's things, but more than that, it was the first time he'd been able to study the prison up close. Tiny white specks moved in snaking patterns toward the middle. A small silver ball in the center of the orb started turning black. The small onyx lines shot outward, creating fragmented cracks. The black bars turned red hot. Eliath winced as the central orb shattered into tiny pieces, causing him to drop the artifact and clutch his hands. Eliath, are you okay? Sindril called over. Zylok grabbed the boy's hands and studied them. Young man, what happened? Xyloth wiped the tears from his eyes and sniffed. I don't know. Tiny black lines shot out from the inside of the purple ball, and then the thing shattered. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break it. Zylok hugged him tightly. It's not your fault, lad. Don't worry about it. Holding the boy's head to his chest, he looked at Kairos and narrowed his eyes. This isn't good. Kairos nodded and downed the rest of his drink. No, it isn't, but we'll handle anything that comes our way. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention? An older man with a hollowed-out face and gray hair waved his hands from atop a large wooden structure. The shirtless men pounded their drums 5 times, and everyone went silent. Thank you all for coming to the Life Festival. Today we give glory to the gods for saving us on that fateful day so many years ago. They destroyed the dragon god, Malice, and brought peace to Dun Nahar. The crowd erupted, stomping their feet and clapping their hands. The musicians played the song Ocean Tide silently in the background, and the fire crackled and popped, sending swirling clouds of smoke into the purple-hued sky. Thank you, the speaker said. Our ancestors fought bravely in the Second Great War, and many of us will never know what they sacrificed to keep us all safe. Zylok bit his tongue. We won't be safe forever. Kairos shot him a cold stare. Please keep your words to yourself during the speech. Zylok rolled his eyes and crossed one of his legs over the other. As you wish, Sir God King. With a sly grin, he looked down at Eliath. You want to see something neat, lad? Eliath nodded eagerly. Yes, show me. Zylok took a handful of marbles from his side bag and threw them into the sky. He eyed the crowd, and they seemed none the wiser. His hand glowed with a soft purple hue, and he pointed up, nudging Eliath in the shoulder. Eliath looked to the sky. Small, glowing dots grew brighter. Then, with a loud boom, they exploded into a mirage of different colored fireworks. Blazes! That's amazing, Zylok! Kairos narrowed his eyes for a moment, but eventually let the smallest hint of a grin cross his face. Ezra and Sindril stood, gazing at the miraculous display. Others in the crowd clapped and danced around in celebration, and the man on the podium held his hand out to the side. What a beautiful surprise! It is on the night that I, Barnabe the Fourth, give my thanks and praise to the gods above. He held his hands out to the side and lifted his head. Thank you for keeping us safe. The man lowered his head. Some in the crowd let out a gasp as the drums began playing, and an enchanting rhythm as smoke came from behind the speaker. He clapped once. Yes, tonight we celebrate. I hope you are all ready. Let the festival. The man's body jolted forward. A black sword protrude from his neck. Blood sprayed outward, and the man fell to his knees, clutching his throat. People in the crowd ran toward the town in frantic scurry. Eliath jumped off the log and clutched Zylok's arm. What's going on, old man? The large fire turned from red to dark purple with traces of black, and a low, sinister laugh echoed through the air. A large, swirling energy storm of red and blue appeared on top of the wooden platform behind the deceased Barnabe. Zylok gathered Eliath, Sindril, and Ezra together. Stay behind me and Kairos. More in the crowd started falling to the ground, swords sticking out of their guts and necks. A purple blur dashed from point to point, until finally, arriving back on top of the wooden structure, a hauntingly tall creature in a black hooded cloak revealed himself. He turned around and held his hands out to the side. Finally free. It's good to be back. And there's a break in the story. Think of this as the commercial if it were a TV show. Right? Because that's how that would work. Leave everyone on a cliffhanger and then go talk about a new vacuum or that car that you'll never buy. With the Sucker Upper 5000, you can clean anywhere, anytime. All right, now that we're back from our commercial break. Elias' face went pale. He grabbed Zylok's arms and squeezed hard. That's the man I saw in my dream. It's all coming true. Zylok dropped his head and bit his lip. I know, lad, but trust me, I won't allow any of you to die. He got on his knee and eyed the children. I need you to go with Ezra and get everyone to safety. Things are about to get very messy here, and it's nothing you need to see. Eliath opened his mouth as if to argue, but soon let out a sigh and nodded. Okay, if this is how I can help, then I'll do it. Sindril raised an eyebrow. Did I just hear you listen to what you were told for once without an argument? Ezra made his way toward the town. I'll keep them safe, and make sure we take care of the townspeople. Kairos nodded. Thank you, son. Zylok Grey, I was wondering when I'd see you again. That was quite the prison you trapped me in. I applaud your ambition, the man said. With fists clenched, Zylok gritted his teeth. Black Hood, you're like a cockroach, still walking the path of evil even after all those years of solitude. The Black Hood cackled fiercely. Beneath his hood was a young man's face free of decay. I'm going by Lord Zalron now. After all, shouldn't a god have a name as worthy as this? Kairos walked past Zylok and slammed a fist into his open palm. His body exploded with green energy. I'll handle this, old man. This is my kingdom, and I am the one who should defend it. Zalron cackled with joy. And who do we have here? Another pretender? What do you think you have that could defeat me? I am Kairos Zane, the God King. I'm putting an end to you here and now. He shot forward and threw 3 lightning orbs at his enemy. Zalron dodged 2 of them and sent the 3rd one flying into the ocean. Kairos jumped into the air and brought a fiery kick down. He made solid contact with his enemy's face and sent him stumbling back a bit. Hand aimed at the sky, he called a green bolt of lightning down and slammed it down on the Dark Warrior. Zalron stumbled backward, body trembling and smoking. He put a hand to his cheek and grinned. That was impressive, boy. Now it's my turn. Arms outstretched, he slowly raised his hands. The ground rumbled violently, cracking in multiple spots. Sand and rocks rose into the air, followed by beams of dark purple energy. They shot up and snaked around one another until forming a large, rotating vortex of power. Kairos attempted to move, but black chains appeared out of thin air, wrapping around his ankles and wrists. Zalron laughed as he threw his hand down. His attack shot forward and slammed into the king, sending him flying back into the town. A loud boom sounded, and a large cloud of debris and dust rose to the sky. The Black Hood brushed his hand off his cloak and stalked toward Zylok. It looks like I'll have my opportunity to take my revenge against you after all. Kairos soared out of the rubble and landed in front of his enemy. You thought that would be enough to take me down? Zalron shook his head. No, but this will. He grabbed the king's head and brought it down on his knee. Then he picked the warrior up and tossed him back into the rubble. Zylok rushed over to his friend. I've seen enough. I'm taking it from here. He tossed the man a healing apple from his side bag. Eat this. Kairos took it and nodded gratefully. So much for the festival, huh? The wizard chuckled. Do what needs to be done, old man. Destroy this monster once and for all so we can be free. Kairos coughed and rubbed his ribcage. With a thumbs up, Zylok smiled. Don't worry. This won't take long at all. Once he turned away from Kairos, he wiped the sweat from his forehead and tried to steady his pulse. Still here? Thank you, Gray. Zalron clicked his teeth in amusement. Still as cocky as ever. You're a filthy degenerate, and you're going to die today, old man. I'm going to get my revenge against you. Zylok laughed to himself. A degenerate. Huh, I love that word. He pointed at his enemy. We'll see about that. The old man clenched his fist and exploded with purple and silver energy before launching himself forward. He launched a vicious punch but missed. Zalron was moving quicker than before.
Channeling energy into his eyes to increase his visual prowess, Xylock spun around and followed the energy signature of his enemy. As soon as he locked on, he leaped forward at lightning speed and threw a flaming purple fist at his enemy's throat. This time, he made contact. He studied the Black Hood's flaming violet eyes. All he saw was hatred and a lust for power. That made it easier for him as he shoved his hand into the man's chest. Goodbye, Black Hood. Xylock's lip flared as he squeezed on the enemy's heart. What happened next, however, caught him off guard. The same dark laugh sounded as Zalron's body turned to dust. What in the blazes? Suddenly, a stinging pain came from the old man's shoulders. 2 jagged blades burning with purple fire stuck out of him. He felt as though liquid poison was coursing through his body. When he turned around, he was met with a boot to his chest. Xylock coughed up blood, and just before crashing into the ground, another powerful kick slammed into his back, sending him into the sky. He gasped deeply, attempting to refill what little oxygen he had left. He barely had time to think, let alone act, as Zalron had him completely outmatched. For a solid minute, he continued getting barraged with kicks and punches, and he soared from one end of the beachfront to the other. He could no longer follow Zalron's movements, and he was beginning to feel dizzy. Red blotches seeped into the corner of Xylock's eyes. The constant taste of blood remained in his mouth. He was sure by now he had at least one punctured lung and a few broken ribs. As another kick slammed into his back, he watched the black circling clouds above as he soared through the air. Is this how it all ends? Before blacking out, he found Zalron directly on top of him before taking another punch in his gut. A few seconds later, he landed on the ground. An echoing boom sounded upon his arrival at the ground cracked from the force of which he landed. He could hear Zalron laughing in the distance, and he knew the enemy was coming back for him once again. How has he gotten this much stronger? I don't understand. He pulled himself up onto flat ground. Sand entered his mouth, and he had to spit a few times to get the taste out. He found Zalron making his way toward the buildings, where some people were still getting inside, away from the danger. Xylock strained his eyes and saw Ezra with the children gathering everyone together. Gritting his teeth, he got to his feet and shouted at his enemy. We're not done yet. Get back here. Zalron's head turned slowly, an evil grin spread across his face and his eyes glowed with purple power. Still alive, are you? I must admit, you are one tough old man. You're about to find out just how tough I am. Zalron scoffed before crossing his arms over his thick chest. Well, now you've got me curious. I don't believe you have anything that can defeat me. So go ahead. Show me what you've got. Xylock took a deep breath. He was about to perform a type of magic considered forbidden to most wielders. He thought quickly. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not. However, I can't afford the luxury of taking any chances. I must end this here now. Xylock removed his shirt, revealing lines of bulging muscles. With a dagger from his belt, he made a large cut on both of his hands before squeezing, covering them in blood. He began marking his chest with symbols, a few straight lines followed by a couple of circles and a star. He repeated this process on his biceps and forearms before marking 2 solid lines from his hairline down to his beard. Xylock slammed his hands together, and all the markings exploded with purple light. Bit by bit, the old man's appearance changed.
Each one of his muscles increased in size. His hair and beard twisted around until it braided. Then his eyes lit up purple, followed by the rest of his body. Zalron's laugh grew louder. Now this will be fun. It looks like I finally have a challenge. Zylok aimed his hands at his enemy. We haven't even begun, and you don't even realize that it's already over. Zalron's face twisted up and he screamed, You arrogant bastard! The ground cracked at Zylok's feet as he sprung forward, had his hand around Zalron's throat before the man could react. Zylok threw the black hood into the ocean. Then he flew forward and hovered above the water. He aimed his hands down, and a colossal boulder rose from the ocean. Zalron landed on the stone and screamed as he threw an azure-colored fireball forward. Zylok raised his hands and deflected the attack. He clasped his hands together and spoke powerfully. Powerfully? That's not a word. Powerfully. Forbidden technique. Barrier magic. 10,000 suns. As if the earth could hear the old man, it responded by producing 12 stone pillars, crackling with red, purple, and silver lightning. Zylok shouted as he raised his hands. The rock structures continued higher until reaching 100 feet. Around them, the waters turned violent and swirled. The wizard pointed at the top of the pillars, and lightning shot out, connecting the middle to form a ceiling. Zalron stood with 2 flaming balls of energy in his hands and took the look of evil on his face. You'll die for that. Zylok chuckled and shook his head. He yelled above the swirling water. I'm sorry, but the fight is over, and you're done. He snapped his finger, and multiple strings of white hot lightning shot from the pillars and grabbed a hold of Zalron, spreading each of his limbs out until he was suspended in the air. The old wizard conjured a glowing ball of red and orange energy and threw it into the air. It soared to the ceiling and connected to it. The earth rumbled and the pillars shook violently. What had once been a small circle of energy was now a raging, swirling storm of death. A bright light shone down on Zalron. For a moment, everything was still and quiet. Zylok's pulse thumped steadily, his breathing a calm cadence. It brought him a small bit of peace to know he was ending a war that had waged for far too long. Know this, fool, Zalron said, still struggling against his bonds. If you think this is going to end me, it won't. I'll return, and when I do, I'll come for your entire kingdom. I won't stop until you and everyone you love are dead. Zylok looked at his enemy, the creature that had haunted Dun Nahar for so long, the beast who always figured out a way to survive. Perhaps you're right. I assure you, though, if you somehow do return, I'll make sure it's the last time. Burn in hell, Zylok. Incinerate. The wizard raised his hand above his head, then brought it straight down. A beam of white energy with lines of red and orange came down and struck Zalron. Piercing screams filled the air for a time, but eventually faded. A few seconds later, the powerful energy dissipated. All that remained of Zalron was a charred corpse. It slowly crumbled until the only thing remaining was floating pieces of ash. Zylok hovered back to the beach and dropped to solid ground. He released a slow breath and snapped his fingers. The 12 pillars broke apart into small pieces and fell into the waters, and the energy disappeared.
He made his way to Kairos and collapsed next to him. You look awful, Kairos said, giving the old man a grin. Thank you for keeping my kingdom safe by defeating that beast. Zylok rubbed his ribcage and coughed a bit of blood onto the ground. I do what I can. Though, believe me, and the children, I believe me and the children should head back to Targus. We need to prepare ourselves for his return. Didn't you kill him? Kairos asked, taking a small bite of his apple and leaning his head against the rock. A bright, glowing orb of energy appeared out of thin air, hovering directly over them. You insolent fools! You can't kill me! Zylok sat straight up and held up his fists. Who are you? Lord Zalron, boy. The blob of energy formed 2 eyes and a mouth. I'm giving you 6 months. That's the time you have before I return. I want you to plan and train and do everything you can to prepare. It will make it all the sweeter when I kill you. You're nothing in the grand scheme of the universe. Just 2 annoying insects. You seem scared, Zalron, Zylok said, narrowing his eyes. I may not have killed you, but you certainly got your backside handed to you. I'll be waiting for your return, foul beast. Then I'll kill you for good. Zalron's soul grew brighter. A loud shriek echoed out before he hovered away towards the sky. See you in 6 months, Zylok. The old wizard leaned his head back and sighed. The smoke from the fire drifted into the purple-pink sky, and for a moment, Zylok simply wanted to stay lying on the ground and never move. But he knew he needed to prepare for war. He shakily got to his feet and helped Kairos up. It's time we got off to Targus. Are you sure I can't convince you to come back with us? I must stay here and protect my people. Plus, I want nothing to do with dark magic. And I know you're going to use it. He grabbed his friend's shoulder. Whatever you do, old man, please don't use that spell. Use light to defeat the darkness. I believe in you. Zylok nodded. Be well, my friend. I look forward to our next gathering. He waved goodbye before phasing over to the buildings. Eliath, Sindral, where are you? The children came running out of the far huts nearest to the cliffs. Eliath leaped forward and hugged the old man. Are you okay? I only saw a little part of the fight from here. Yes, I'm okay. Just a few minor injuries. We need to go home now. I'm sorry to cut the trip short. He grabbed their hands and charged his magical energy, then phased. A split second later, they stood in Targus. He made his way toward the castle and pointed towards the second floor. You both scurry along to bed. I've got to talk with your parents, but I promise I'll see you tomorrow. Once the children left, he headed toward the council chamber. He wasn't looking forward to the conversation, but it was necessary. He let out a deep breath and prepared his mind. And that, ladies and gentlemen, ends chapter 6.